guys, welcome back and thanks for stopping by my channel and checking me out. I want to, as always, jump right into things since I always seem to be going over on my 20-minute limit I have tried to give myself. So today I just kind of want to touch on the Kavanaugh hearings, and not even so much the hearings itself, but something that I saw while watching it. There was a lot of good stuff, so much we could talk about, but more specifically, I want to talk about the day the witnesses came in and had their say as far as what they thought of the nominee. And I don't want people to take what I'm about to say the wrong way. I don't want people to assume I'm attacking anyone. Just putting that disclaimer out there that I in no way think that anything that I heard from any victims was wrong. But I have to say, when I heard the victims of the Parkland shooting speak and talk about their experience, fearing the next few moments and if they were going to survive, I mean, it hurt to see kids like that have to experience something that no kid should ever have to experience. I still have a hard time letting 18-year-olds into the military for that same reason. Traumatizing somebody at such a young age, and then we wonder why there's PTSD, but that's a whole other topic. More importantly, it just really upset me to constantly, and not even just at the Kavanaugh hearings, but after a tragic event like, these school shootings that seem to be happening a lot more frequent than they should at this point in the game. We're talking 20 years later, and we're still talking about school shootings and what we as a society are supposed to be doing about that. And I think that's what bothers me, is that the conversation has not changed since the first school shooting. We're still implementing gun laws. We're still fighting over gun laws. And still, our kids are faced with the fear of somebody entering their school and killing them. And it just makes me mad because, yes, everything has to kind of develop a pattern, I guess. Like, after the first school shooting, everybody was kind of scratching their heads like, how did this happen? And, blaming Marilyn Manson and just more gun control. I mean, it just seems like we're now in 2018 and the response to these shootings has not changed. The shootings have not changed. And yet we are still divided in this country on what we think is the proper procedure in dealing with school violence and school shootings, more specifically. And it just burns me up that almost every conversation that involves somebody who truly believes the guns are the issue can't and won't at least have a conversation about prevention. Anytime someone talks about arming the school, putting in metal detectors, or any variation of school safety features, all of a sudden we are now treating our students as prisoners. Sorry, hate to break this to you, but without the bars, without the, metal detectors, and without the extra cameras, these kids already feel like they're in prison. None of them really want to be there. They'd rather be hanging out with their friends, but education is important. And again, that is a totally different topic, because I feel like the schools in the last 10 years have failed completely. And that's why we have such a high percentage of millennials clueless and unaware like I just feel like they have to be unaware of the steps and the procedures and the things that we've done since Columbine to stop this violence. And again, the same response over and over, expecting a different result, is called insanity. At this point, America is at an insane point where we're continuing to feed this narrative to people that the only way we're going to stop violence in our schools is if we take away all the guns, we make it harder for criminals. And at the end of the day, when you're looking at all of these different situations over the course of the last 20 years, sorry, but you have not changed anything when it comes to these schools. And if Parkland is any example, local and state authorities have way more blood on their hands than the NRA. Of course, the NRA should have no blood on its hands. No member was involved in that shooting. And just the fact that we keep pushing the narrative to gun owners versus prevention is exactly why I feel we are still in this situation in 2018. I think at the very least 10 years ago, we should have had this on lock already. Look what happened in our airports. We were constantly dealing with hijackers in the sky. And then we get 9/11. And then things really got put into perspective on safety and what we have to do to protect this country from those who have bad intentions. And now we see that people have bad intentions towards our schools and our students. So why are we not protecting them the way that we protect people who get on a plane? Why aren't we protecting them the way we protect our judges and lawyers and criminals? They're in a court hearing. Everybody has some level of protection, and a lot of it came from past experiences and not wanting to repeat those mistakes again to allow such a horrible event to happen. Yet, here we are 20 years later, and we have still not done anything official in this country to mandate how our schools protect the children when they are there. And I gotta say, it's been too long now. I'm sick of the arguing. I'm sick of the placing blame where it doesn't belong. It's not fixing anything. It's not fixing a single thing. And guarantee sometime this year, we're probably going to have another massive school shooting at a school that has no security, no way of knowing who's coming in and out of their school, with weapons undetected. And yet we subject these kids to shooter drills instead of doing something to prevent someone from even being able to walk onto the school property to begin with. If you're a kid and you got some kind of weapon in your bag and your bag isn't see-through, or you happen to mask what's in the bag with other things around it because your bag is see-through, and somebody doesn't have a metal detector or something that will alert officials that a student possibly has a weapon, that kid is going to get into the school with the weapon, and nobody's going to know how to react to that student until he starts popping off and killing people. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why are we still allowing these people to get into the school? Why are there not entrances completely monitored by security, major entrances with a metal detector, extra cameras in the front office and in blind spots that the school really can't keep up with unless there's something that they can, easily look at to see what's happening. Motion detectors. Hello. Yes, we have people that are walking around school all day. Not everybody's always in a classroom, but when you have motion and people on the outside trying to get in during school hours, that should alert somebody. That should give somebody some kind of notice that says, we have somebody at this part of the building All of our students should be in class. Anybody who's visiting should be coming in at this particular entrance. We need to figure out what's happening right now. Why are these things not being talked about? Why are these things not being implemented into at least one state? Let's start with Florida and see how these provisions and safety measures really affect the bottom line, which is money. And what we can do to raise whatever funds that are still needed to put these measures in school. I am pretty sure any parent with a child in a school would be more than willing to donate, would be more than willing to rally, would be more than willing to help bring to the front and center the money needed so that they know when they're sending their kids to school every day, they're safe. I'm sorry, but laws on the books, that doesn't save children's lives. Action and prevention, that's what's going to save our kids' lives. And watching the one girl speak at the hearing and just listening to her experience, all I could keep thinking of was, especially in the Parkland situation, it was preventable. Those kids did not have to suffer what they suffered. And I hope every student who was at school that day, their parents sue. Why can't they sue? I mean, let's face it, we have 20 years worth of incidences that show us how we could improve our schools and make them safer, yet nobody's done it, yet people continue to die. That sounds like a lawsuit to me. I know if I was a parent and my child was shot or killed, I would sue. I would absolutely go after the school and say it's the school's fault. It is the school's fault. It is the county's fault. It is the district's fault. It is the state's fault for not seeing these warnings, not seeing these incidences, and then doing something about it. They just let it happen. And then their answer to it all is to run on CNN and talk about gun control. Gun control has not stopped any of these school shootings. Not one. If anything, more recent shootings have been deterred and stopped because somebody else on the property had a weapon. So again, why are we subjecting our children to these kind of experiences when we could easily implement safety measures in these schools that, I'm sorry, it's not going to make the school feel like a prison. It should make people feel safe. Extra cameras at the doors are not affecting students in the classroom. Windows that can only be opened from the inside, blinds on the windows, door stops for the doors, all of these things that we say would definitely help with school safety, these kids wouldn't even be thinking about a week past to going back to school. Oh, extra cameras, who cares? Oh, I have to walk through a metal detector. Who cares? I mean, most of these things that we should do to help our schools become more safer really wouldn't affect how a student feels in school other than safer. You know, and I don't understand how safer translates as criminal. We're not saying put bars on the windows. We're not saying put a fence around the perimeter with, guys in a tower with weapons and, no, that's not what we're saying. And that's not what I'm saying. Most people that I know who think of school safety and things that we could do to make that better, I don't hear anybody arguing with those points. Metal detectors, extra cameras, extra security. If you're a teacher and you have a permit and you have all the licensings required by your state to open carry, why not let these trained individuals who agree to make that a part of their job description, why aren't we letting them do that? Some people say, oh, we can't let teachers have weapons because they're going to kill all the black kids. What are you people on? Like, half the videos that I have seen with troubled kids and teachers the teachers are the ones getting attacked, and I don't think any of them, if they had a gun, would turn around and use that gun on that student. I believe that an unruly student or even a violent student can be handled by campus security, calling the police, removing the student from the classroom. But I don't see teachers trying to use their weapons that are designed to save a life against an unruly student in class. I mean, I don't really see that becoming an issue. And furthermore, last I checked, we do have schools that have metal detectors and extra security and things like that. And I don't think I've ever heard of any of these schools being shot up. So again, we already have examples of how to keep our students safe. We're keeping our inner city kids safe, right? So why can't we keep our suburban kids safe? Just the same as we keep everybody else safe who are in a position or could be vulnerable to someone who has violent intentions. We have armed security for so many other things. We have security measures for so many different types of buildings. Our schools should have been put on this list long time ago. And for every school that does not implement a more safer guideline and procedure for their schools, if anything like this were to happen, I believe every single parent should be able to sue the crap out of their district for not preventing something that we all know all too well is an issue. It's not like this is not an issue. This is an issue. Unfortunately, our country is insane with trying to fix this problem the same way over and over and over again, and we are not getting different results. So what's everybody's excuse? Why aren't we getting on the prevention plan and doing things that we can actually see, feel, and know are working to protect our kids, instead of counting on some law that the only people who are going to follow are citizens who don't break the law and have no intentions of shooting anyone, especially going to a school and killing children. So anybody who has intentions like that, I assure you the law is not going to stop them from what they're trying to do. Not being able to get a certain kind of gun or not getting a gun at all is not going to stop them. It's just going to make them that much more inventive. And having policy in place that would help identify and stop these kids from getting into the school with whatever weapon, not just a gun. Let's look at the entire scenario here. It's not just guns that can kill people. It's just guns is what people are using because they don't seem to have a problem getting them into the school to begin with. Okay? So if you're just worried about guns, you're not paying attention to knives. You're not paying attention to bombs and the things that it takes to make them. Hell, a kid could poison the damn cafeteria. I mean, there's going to be, if somebody has bad intentions, they're going to find a way to make it happen. So let's at least make it harder for them. We might not be able to stop them from trying, but we can at least make it harder for them. And we're not making it harder for them by making up more laws that they're not even going to follow to begin with. So for me, when I see children talk about their experience of either a real school shooting or the fact that they're having to experience a school shooting drill, rather than putting that time and that money and that effort into real things that could actually protect our children, we are going to continue to see these things happen. If we don't pay attention to our quiet students, if we don't make an active effort to understand the ones that potentially could stick out as a problem, and if we just keep ignoring it and just throwing more books or more laws on the books, we're not doing anything to fix it. We're not doing anything at all. ignoring it. We're putting a band-aid on it. I wouldn't even call it a band-aid. I would say going after gun laws is like putting a cast on someone's leg who's not broken, sitting next to the man who actually needs the cast. I mean, come on. Like, this makes no sense to me how we have gone about fixing this issue with people coming into our children's schools and shooting them. And it's high time that we stop having the gun control debate and we start talking prevention and what kind of things that we need in our schools to ensure that the kids are being paid attention to, as well as the things that they're trying to bring into the school as well. And the only way we're going to prevent anybody from getting into a school is if we put in preventative measures. Again, gun laws, they just waste paper and people's time when we could really be doing things that actively seek a solution. And laws put on the books do not actively seek a solution. Getting out there and seeing the things that we need that would protect our children from harm is where we should have started a long time ago. And if we don't start seeing our schools take this seriously and implement these safety measures to ensure our children's safety, I think at some point all of these schools will suffer a lawsuit. And that's going to cost you way more than just putting some cameras and a metal detector in some schools. And I know people are going to say that costs a lot of money. Well, everybody's been bitching and raising hell and just putting their 2 cents out there because they care about this so much. Well, if you care about it that much and it's going to cost a little bit of money, I think it's worth it, don't you? So tell me what you think about the gun control debate. Is it getting old for you? Do you really feel like laws are working? Or do you think it's time to start addressing the problem more head on with preventative measures? And what kind of preventative measures would you feel safe and comfortable having your children experience? Do you think Big Brother is too much, having too many cameras? Do you think having the metal detectors makes it like a prison? Give me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. What is your ideal school that you would feel comfortable sending your children to? Leave me a comment in the comment box below. Give me a like. If you have to, give me a dislike, but I'd love to know why. I'm always wanting to improve. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you know anytime I upload a video. And thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.